YouTube live stream. People will be coming in, but whatever. I don't do fucking countdowns and anything like that. So, mature audience is only in the parentheses for a reason, okay? This is not an easy subject to talk about. Yes, we live in a time now where Elon Musk is in control of one of the biggest social platforms ever, but there's still room to talk shit and not know what you're talking about and get yourself in a lot of trouble. Get yourself canceled. And I have to watch my mouth, community guidelines and such. Community guidelines, respecting people, respecting life. But this is kind of what we're talking about right now. So if you've been living under a Plymouth Rock or a car, or maybe you're indigenous and you just discovered there's a whole world, that the world is not flat. The Supreme Court, United States, has ruled against Roe v. Wade, has overturned Roe v. Wade, and now it's decided for each state, however blue, red, purple, polka dot, plaid, whatever color, whatever allegiance to whatever party it's to decide if abortion should be legalized or not. I think you know where, looking at, sorry, I'm getting distracted by things. I think you know where Texas stands. I think Texas was trying to keep all the clinics out. And California will probably still stay where it is. Now, it's a delicate topic because in many ways I have to respect both sides. If you're Christian, if you're Catholic, if you're Protestant, if you're Lutheran, if you're Jewish, whatever your religion says, preserve all life. Okay, I can understand that. We have come from a long way since the Magna Carta, since Native Americans, my cousins, fought with the Pilgrims, since John Smith and Pocahontas, since Hernan Cortez and my ancestors, the Aztec slaves. We've come a long way. We formed 13 colonies. We had business makers. We went from indentured servants to black slaves, and then emancipation. We went through the Industrial Revolution, technology, and we separated church from state because we wanted to not let any particular religion say what's best for everyone. I believe in the Ten Commandments to a point. Now, I think for most of you who've ever subscribed to me, you know my background. You know the horrible life had lived for 44 years. My 44th birthday will be in about 25, 26 days, okay? I lost two of my brothers to hemophilia. I've lost my cousin to AIDS. My second brother died of AIDS, okay? My first brother died from blood hemorrhage and from the hemophilia, from the severity of blood. I lost my father to diabetes. I lost my sister to suicide, allegedly. I don't know how that was. A lot of people in my family died. So this topic is delicate. So I do respect the pro-lifers, okay? A lot of people on pro-life, whether it's Candace Owens, whether it's Josiah Rises, whether it's the Geeks and Gamers, the Phantom Menace, whoever, Nerdrotic, I don't know. I know there's a few that may or may not. Geeks and Gamers are supposed to have multiple points of view, so there's probably a few people who are pro-choice. But I also think you should not make law your points of views on everyone else. Now, thou shalt not kill, to me, still applies to killing intelligent life and maybe pets, if necessary. I don't believe in killing cats and dogs or birds and fish unless it was absolutely necessary to do so. We do so in the case of rabies. We do so in the case of some horrible, life-threatening disease. If there's nothing we do, we put the dog to sleep, we put the cat to sleep. It's hard. But also, I respect the pro-choicers, the pro-people who want to make that decision. Now, I think Joe Rogan, I don't listen much to Joe Rogan these days. I listen to all kinds of other people who I can connect with the best. I still think Joe Rogan deleted one of my Instagram comments, but whatever. That's bitter. That's crybaby bitter shit. I don't deal with. No, I don't want to be a hypocrite. But anyway, Joe Rogan talked about where is the line in the sand between when you're a pro-choicer and you're going to abort the baby, and when are you straight up murdering the baby? Now, let's put aside those women that toss their babies in a dumpster. We already know those kind, don't we? And we as men, we get accused of many crimes, but they're not accused of that shit. We know. You ladies, you know, okay? You gals can do some shitty things. I mean, there was a woman that drowned her babies in bathtubs, and I think she was still serving time, 20 to 30 or life. I don't know if it was life, probably 20 to 30. It's revolving door. I mean, I don't think I know a woman that ever, maybe one or two ever got the death penalty. And it's an extreme kind of view to send a woman to death. You look back at, there's many narratives, okay? The easiest narrative for a pro-lifer is to support no abortion would be to say, oh, look at all these stupid kids. Look at all these irresponsible adults. They're not wearing a condom. They're not getting married and they're having sex. Well, they should have that baby. They should do it. You should have that baby, right? And it's like, okay, maybe a couple should, but then you're not thinking about the kid. You're thinking about punishing the stupid couple for having sex, okay? Because even like Cholo Trucker said, and I'm here with him. We're like this, okay? The kid pays for a lot of the adults' mistakes because there are women who have kids for the wrong reasons. To keep the man in the relationship, to keep the baby daddy, so he can pay the bills, so he can do this and that. Irresponsible, okay? So there are love children. So I guess the narrative is you should have a kid when you're married. If you're a pro-lifer, you should get married under God, and you should never ever divorce because that should never ever happen. Even though we all know the divorce rate is fucking high. It is way up there. You can't even see my hand. It's high in this country. So we know divorce is there. Marriage is a joke most of the time. I know a couple that I'm working with. They look like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, or Oswald the rabbit and his little girlfriend, or Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, okay? They're this cute little salt and shaker couple, okay? They're an anomaly, okay? They're the perfect couple. Maybe they're religious, maybe that's why they get along, but they're the perfect couple to get married and have beautiful children. They're an anomaly, okay? Because most of us, we're skeptical. We've been through the ringer. If we're not attractive, women will accuse men of all kinds of shit. That's how it is. So it's rough for us, okay? If we can't get along with the woman having a child, I mean, look at Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Do you want them to be having a children? If Amber Heard was pregnant with Johnny's kid, you want her to have that kid? Let's see abortion being not tempting, okay? When you think of Amber Heard, all right? Amber Heard having a child. I mean, look what she did to Johnny Depp. Look what she accused Johnny Depp of doing. Would you want that kid you think that kid's not going to suffer the same fate or worse? I mean, she'll use the back of her hand. Okay? I lived with abusive people. I don't think I should have ever been alive. And that's the hardest thing I ever say. I should have ended myself years ago. I'm still here. I'm still going. But it's like when you see horrible people, shitty parents, shitty siblings, and they don't give a shit about you, those kinds of people, the type A personality, they use an open palm, closed fists, and they tell you, well, you better do things my way, and then you can earn your entitlement. And then when you do things their way, they loosely pull the football away. And then they never apologize to you. And they want to win the argument, have the last word. Right? All the chess moves. I know these people. I hate those people. Remember I told you about my boss? Remember I told you about him? The one that told me that somebody else was doing my work? Or the Weasley Weasel kid that was like cock blocking. Those kinds of people I have to deal with. But those kinds of people were in my family. My father, who was abusive. My mother, who has to have she still hasn't learned anything. My sisters still fight, even though one of them is dead now. What has happened here, right? So when I think about abortion, I think that abortion, much like pro-life, has to be handled responsibly. I think, and honestly, that the Supreme Court handled this very foolishly. I think that you have to understand pro choice includes the ability to be pro life or not. Pro life means it's absolute across the board, no exceptions. But again, if you have a child, my mom, I believe, had me knowing that I was going to have hemophilia. Hemophilia is not something you want to wish upon anyone. And you got Alex Borstein, who kind of leads the way, but she's not exactly, according to Ari Spears, isn't exactly squeaky clean if she probably has racist tendencies. But that's according to him, of course. And if she ever exposed as being a racist, boy, I just can't wait for Twitter to go ape shit and say all hemophiliacs are bad because of her. So I can just go unleash my nonsense on them. Not unleash my nonsense, but unleash my fury and say, how dare you? Don't you dare accuse the rest of us for her bullshit. But anyway, my mom, I believe, knew that I was going to have the hemophilia. And I think she knew. And I don't think she cared. There are people who are willing to have handicapped children or children with terminal illness. If you know that your son or daughter will have AIDS or something worse, and they may not survive, or they're going to have a cancer that's passable, you wouldn't want to have that kid. Why? Why would you want to do that? If the doctor said there's going to be a 9 out of 10 chance you are going to have a sick child, and now by what's happening, you'd have to drive to another state, or if you're in a blue state, maybe you'll get lucky and you can get the abortion. Or even worse, a child with Down syndrome, mentally handicapped, mental retardation. Have any of you ever worked at a special ed school? I did for a whole week. It was not fun. Now, when we think of mentally retarded children, we think of the actor from Life Goes On, or that actress who played Chris Griffin's girlfriend in Family Guy, or that kid, Tim's Place in New Mexico, or is it Arizona? He's a kid with special needs and he's mentally handicapped, but he can dress himself for the most part. He can tie his own shoes, but he's still slow and he needs people to take care of him, but he can run his own, diner, his own business. That's great. But these kids are not in the red. The ones that are in the red are the ones that I worked with. These kids were born deformed to an extreme point. It wasn't that they had an arm missing or a leg missing. That's physical handicap, okay? I have a physical handicap, okay? Or born blind, that was my brother. These kids were not right in the head. And some of them are as old as me, or 30 or 20 or 19. Some of them could be kids, but some of them are adults. My mom worked with them. My dad worked with them for many years. And they couldn't dress themselves. They couldn't help themselves. If they felt horny, if they felt angry, if they felt scared, they would act out all their feelings without thought, almost animal-like. My job was to help as a temporary teacher's assistant. My dad was a teacher's assistant. My job was to help them do puzzles. So those Fisher-Price ring toss things, you put the colors in the right order, the right shape, size, and then you build it to the right order. You and I could do it in maybe 5 or 10 seconds. They don't know what that is. They don't know what Monday is. They don't know what Tuesday is. They don't know what gray is. They don't know what blue is. They don't know what a square is or a circle. They don't know what time is or English. They just know they go on their basic instincts. And if they hurt somebody, they hurt somebody. They don't care. They don't think about it. And the worst part is, and some of these kids are big and overweight or aggressive, if we ended up having to put our hands on those kids, even if it was me, but I'm not an official employee, right? This was back in 2001. If we put our hands on those kids, even if it was to save our life or save some other kid's life or the teacher, the parents would come in and say, "You touched my kid? Fuck you. I'm going to sue you. I ought to give you one touch of my kid. You probably raped my kid. You're going to get sued in the whole school." That was a fear that my dad and my mom had to endure every single day that they had to deal with special ed kids. These were not actors that were, oh, they're just like everybody else. These were not Special Olympics. Yeah, they did it. This was not one of those things. No, no. These kids were far beyond help. And what my solution for them would be would violate community YouTube guidelines. So I will not say it. But look at me in the face for 5 seconds. You already know what my solution would be. So this is why I put mature audiences, because to me, these things, what Roe v. Wade represented was that women no longer had to get metal coat hangers. We can make coat hangers out of plastic. Okay. I can't imagine what it's like to be a woman, but that coat hanger had a lot of meaning for those of you, if there are any females, chances are you're in 20s or 30s. Your grandmother had to use that coat hanger. Do you want to live your grandmother's, era? I don't think you do. And if you had to go get an abortion, if you're in a red state, you're fucked. You have to go to a blue state. You have to drive. It's hard. If there was a legal loophole, maybe you live in 2 states, maybe there was a way to do it. But it's just, there has to be a line. Now, if there was a trimester or something before like a couple of weeks in, a few weeks in, you could get the abortion, okay. But if you're waiting months, yeah, then I would kind of lean towards the right, the conservative, and say that's murder, right? That's murdering a baby. As it is, like I told you, babies in dumpsters. So as far as Roe v. Wade goes, there is much responsibility in draconian making it illegal for abortion as there is making it legal for abortion. If you decide to strike it down, yes, you make you and your little circle of friends, Candace Owens will think about you. Candace Owens will give you a hug. Josiah from Josiah Rises will give you a hug. Everybody will love you in that group. But then there are women who are for the left who will hate you. And the reverse is true if you pick anti-abortion. Like I said, I think there is a middle ground that exists. We as humans, we have gotten past slavery. We have gotten past, not having technology. We have farmers. We have states now. We have laws in place. You have to respect those who are pro-life. But pro-lifers, you must respect the pro-choicers. I don't believe it's like Crystal Ball said from Crystal and Sagar, Breaking Points. No woman is cheering on killing a baby, okay? Sometimes, every once in a while, you may have Trojan condoms. You may have different forms of birth control, and something goes wrong. And you could probably have a 1600 on your SATs. You could have the Nobel Peace Prize or be a member of Mensa. You could come up with formulas like those black chicks from, the NASA, the one that Taraji P. Henson played. You could be like Taraji P. Henson with Mensa power, and you could have the greatest meth, and your condom has a hole in it. And you don't get to have an abortion because Roe v. Wade was turned down. Okay? This is one narrative out of so many. There are stupid people that have kids. But here's the thing I say to you pro-lifers. Because it's not easy for a woman to give it up for abortion. For adoption. Adopting a kid or giving a kid it takes a lot for a woman to give up a baby to a firehouse. It can be done. Sometimes it should be done. Some women should give a baby up to a fire station or give a baby up for adoption. But it takes a lot for a woman to do that. But you see a lot of stupid people. All you have to do is go on like Review Tech USA stories about how one girl tried to poison her mother with Clorox bleach because she didn't get a phone, or that dad that sat on his kid until he couldn't breathe. There's some people who should not have children at all. There are many, many stories. We have so many people on the freeway. But that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to, this is a major story. Overturning will turn the choice over to states. Well, yeah, but like I say, it's a matter now of people driving to other states now. It's like, oh, I got to have this abortion. Maybe they'll make a movie about it. Maybe it'll be a dark comedy, who knows, about going to another states. Yeah, I feel bad for those people in red states right now. I love your name, Ted. Are you being nice to the girls, Ted? If I may ask, be nice to the girls watching you. Anyway, yeah, those girls in red states. I mean, like I said, I was saying in one narrative out of so many narratives, you could have the smartest women in the world uh, saying that, being the smartest women have used the smartest condoms, and something could still go wrong. And what can they do? You know, there are people who are not ready to have children. I'm not. So that's all I think I really wanted to say. It is going to be a battle. I'm much nicer nowadays. How are you alive anyway? Um, Man, and that's the thing too. I'm glad you brought that up. If you look at Ted Bundy's mother, if you look at Adolf Hitler's mother, if you look at Mussolini's mother, Kim Jong Un, uh, you know, Ponzi, Bernie Madoff's mom, and you think, you know, maybe that abortion's not such a bad idea. Adolf Hitler's mom, Mrs. Hitler. I mean, yeah, I mean, you'll have artists in your family, and Adolf was a good artist, but there's time to get that abortion. You don't need that many kids. I don't know if he had brothers or sisters, but maybe you don't need a child. Maybe you could adopt one somewhere. I don't know. Of course, might have been that kid instead. There's a lot of things that come out of things. I think that every decision has to be treated with maturity. Yeah, I mean, governments, that's the thing. In college, I played, there's this guy, Nick, okay? And actually, Nick Diaz, who is, I think, still working for Los Angeles. Great guy. I do believe that he was a big supporter for gay marriage to be, given. I think civil rights should be given to everybody. But I was in his class, and when he raised his hand, we were picking roles for who should be the Supreme Court, who should be ACLU, who should be the jury, who should be lawyers. When I saw his hand raised, because he got A's in the class, I raised my hand with him, and we were the Supreme Court justices, and the mock case for our final exam was, should the government get involved in controlling the internet? This was 2002 or 2001. No, this was the fall of 2001. So many years ago. And now you see how important a topic like that is. Government getting involved in social media, or Roe v. Wade, or um, or any kind of rights, undo gay marriage or undo this, or it's ridiculous. It's just like, we have to look back at human progress. Martin Luther King died for progress. Cesar Chavez died for progress. We got Cinco de Mayo. It's going to be second. I think it's already Cinco de Mayo, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's a few minutes. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, so anyway, that's all I'm closing out with. Remember that every time we take away rights or we give rights, it's a responsibility. And it's a responsibility that you alone, or you with a select group of people, have to take. And when you give it to the people, it's up to them to use it wisely. So look before you leap, think before, wear a condom, wear IUD, take the pill, but more importantly, just be happy with the people you're with. Have a better job, and having that kid won't be so bad. And remember, every time you have a child, you're going to fuck him over or her over. Now it's your responsibility to make sure that he or she could live a better life, so they don't end up like me, 40 something, with a mediocre job, trying to get his future together, trying to be somebody. Until next time, happy Cinco de Mayo, babies.